All right, we're going to head out to Eric Glasser now. We've been checking in on him throughout the night. He's near the Anclote River, I believe, still. Yes, there. Eric, what is it looking like? I can see your photographer. I think he's with Angela,
Yep.
having to clean the lens there.
That's a full-time job.
Yeah.
That's a full-time job. Clean off a lens in a
Yeah,
hurricane.
that's Rob, and he's been at it all night, as you guys can imagine. Yeah. So the reason for that is because, as we've said before, sometimes rain just blows sideways, right? So sometimes we're standing out here and it's up and down and it's not a problem. It falls past the lens, but sometimes as we're standing here talking to you, it does blow sideways, and if we're pointing in the right direction, we get that little extra bonus there for you. The rain is falling. It's been pretty steady, again, throughout the course of the day. Not heavy all the time, but heavy at times for sure. And I have to say that I think that there's been a frequency, like right now as I'm standing here, there's not a ton of wind blowing on me, but every once in a while, and with, again, a little bit more frequency, I have seen a lot of gusts picking up. And when they do, they've been a little bit stronger. So I'm not exactly sure whether or not that's just an outer band, something that's been coming over us lately, or whether or not we're parallel with the storm, and so we're seeing more of that. But it has been a little bit more frequent. I want to point up this time instead of down at the saturated ground. It may get a little bit more rain on the lens for you, but you can see right now the trees are a little bit calm, right? But we have seen it really, really pick up at times where that gets really ferocious, and that creates the problem I showed you earlier. A couple of these trees in our area have actually come down, including some really tall ones, like the one right behind where we are staying. And that's, again, a combination of not only the wind, but also the fact that the ground has been so saturated. And that's really going to be an ongoing problem. It's not just tonight. It's not just the fact that it's bringing down trees. And it is not just the fact that we have an issue with the water running into the ground this evening and creating some localized flooding. This is going to be an ongoing problem in Pasco County because the Anclote River runs through Pasco County. And because of that, you're going to see a collection of water that takes place there that raises the Anclote River to double its size. Now, I want to share some video with you that we actually took earlier today. This video is out at Hudson Beach. Now, you guys have seen plenty of images today, probably on your social media feeds also, of the water being drained out of the Hillsborough River in Tampa. This was the situation over at Hudson Beach, where the water was drained out of local canals, out of the beach. People were coming out and seeing this that hadn't seen it in years. They said the last time was during Irma, but you could see Hurricane Ian's force, again, pulling the water out of this area. And the danger and concern was just right about now, probably about this time of the day, when Ian started to move up to the north and the winds would start to whip around from the north and from the west, that people really needed to be careful, because as it did so, it was going to push that water back towards the beach. The water that had been drawn out into the Gulf of Mexico would eventually be pushed back by the winds, those counterclockwise winds, pushing the water back up into the canals, back up against the beach, maybe even creating a small storm surge depending upon the power of the wind. And so people were very concerned that folks were out there walking in this sand, walking out on the grasses that had been, that were now exposed because there was no water over them. They said, hey, you don't know how quickly that water is going to come rushing back in, so be careful out there. And we were actually there when the sheriff's deputies from Pasco County came out, about 10 of them, and they were moving around that entire area and telling people, hey, this is an evacuation zone. Yes, this is a phenomenon, but you all need to leave. And they did. Everybody left peacefully. They did what they were asked to do. But it's just another one of those phenomenons that something like this can create. Mother Nature really just unbelievable, showing its force in our area. But that is yet another one of the things that they really wanted people to be careful of. So you've had, again, the tide going out. There's some question and some concern about the possibility of having the tide come back in, and maybe even some surge on top of what it was that does come back into the local areas. And then again, this accumulation of rain in Pasco County, not exactly unique. You're going to have other rivers in the area, the Alafaya and some others that are going to really start to peak probably over the next few days as this water accumulates. But one for sure that always seems to create issues in our area is the Anclote River that runs through Pasco County into communities that we've talked about, like Elfers, where that water will rise not just a little bit, but again, the Anclote River, currently at about 13 feet, is expected to crest at close to 25 feet, twice as high as it is now. Imagine that sort of volume of water after the storm has moved off, after the skies have cleared, but the water just keeps rising. And that's going to happen over the next few days. Folks that live in neighborhoods like that tell me that they have no doubt that the water is going to come through their neighborhoods. You are going to see major flooding in this area in the days to come. So guys, this is not just a storm that's lasting through the day today. Yes, it has its challenges. Yes, we are seeing localized flooding. Yes, we are seeing saturated ground. Yes, we're seeing trees down, and with those trees, power lines and outages. But a lot of that is going to be fixed. What they are still dreading, and there is anxiety in this county, is the flooding that's going to take place as the rivers start to rise. And again, that's something that we're going to see for days to come. Back to you.
And it's totally understandable how that became such a spectacle there at Hudson Beach. I was just there a couple weeks ago for an unrelated shoot for news, nothing related to the storm. And that's drastic. I could see why people who are from there are drawn to there because, I mean, you don't see it that low from what it is. You know?